What up, gang weed? Uncle OG again. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of gear testing. As you can see in front of me, I have an LBE or a belt rig, plate carrier, and a micro rig. All pretty common stuff for the common Minuteman. We're going to be doing a little bit of rucking, some patrolling, shooting in and out of cover, and some other special stuff for you. I'm going to get suited up. I'll see you guys after the intro.
Yeah. Aye. Yeah. Got my rock up safe, not soft. We standing on this business. Ayy. If you on that other side and you is not a friend of me.
Alright, so just kind of want to give you like a rundown of the each kit that I'm using. This is a Condor belt rig, kind of focused on sustainment. This is more of a slimline plate carrier, and I'll explain that later. And we have a one Tigress micro chest rig that is a knockoff of the Haley Strategic. And then the ruck that I'm going to be using is a Tasmanian Tiger Raid Mark III, loaded with about 35 pounds worth of shit. So yeah, let's continue on to the video. Alrighty, so first test, we're going to be doing a little rucking. It's going to be walking around the property. It's pretty fucking muddy outside right now. Current temp's about 42 degrees, and the rucksack has about 35 pounds in it. Nothing too crazy, just a lot of bulky stuff like a sleep system. Current impressions so far, just throwing it on for the first time. I was a little worried about the butt pack, because I've seen some LBE rigs that really like sit up high, like at your actual hip line, and it would get in the way of kidney belt. And they do make certain rucksacks like the British Army Bergen, which is supposed to be like a short back rucksack. And I thought about like getting one just to test it out, but I mean, the idea is that I'm not like changing all of my fucking gear that I already bought just to make like one item work, you know what I mean? But I'm pleasantly surprised. This Condor rig has a lot of adjustment. I'm a pretty tall guy, I'm 6'4", and I was able to get the belt actually like down to my actual belt line. Oh, got him! So when I actually have the rucksack cinched up, it sits above my my dump truck that I got in the back there. Anyway, let's quit jaw jacking. Let's go rucking. So I think to go all the way around the property is like just under a mile. So it's not like, you know, a super far movement, but I think I'll get enough information. So I could say that I was a little concerned about the shoulder pads kind of getting in the way of the rucksack shoulder pads. However, I can confidently say that the extra padding is actually kind of nice, because the LBE is probably the heaviest of the rigs that I have, even compared to the plate carrier, which I'll talk about like scaling pouches and shit like that later in the video. But I think it's a pretty common consensus that the LBE is supposed to be like a sustainment heavy loadout, so I definitely have it pre-configured in that way. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, I made sure to do the ruck in an area where you might actually expect to use this fucking kit, like in the woods. Alright, we're about a third of the way through. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised. I was expecting this rucksack to really push down on the rig and really kind of put like a lot of weight on my shoulders, but as long as you have it adjusted right, it really ain't that bad. I feel most of the weight on my hips, which obviously for a rucksack kit, anything is ideal. Your legs are stronger than your back and shoulders. And like I said, for this being the heaviest out of the three kits, this carries pretty fucking nice. All right, I'm gonna finish out the rest of this route, and I'll check back in with you guys by the tent. We'll swap gear, and we'll do another lap. All right, I'll see you guys there. All right, we made it. Anyway, initial impressions, so far so good with the LBE. I'm gonna swap out for the plate carrier, and then we'll do it again. Okay, got the plate carrier loaded up on the rucksack. Initial impressions, I'm not gonna like this. I kind of already knew that. And to kind of make it somewhat fair as far as like carrying stuff, because obviously I have this plate carrier set up pretty slick. That'll come up later at the end of the video when I talk about philosophy of use. But to make it a little bit more fair, just so that it's not like a naked plate carrier, I got the bare minimum. I got ammo and fucking IFAK. But as far as like sustainment stuff, if you're gonna roll with this, I mean, unless you want to have like a big giant chunky fucking plate carrier and try and fit a rucksack on, probably gonna have to put most of it in your rucksack. But yeah, if you've ever worn a plate carrier under a rucksack, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. You get a lot of weight in your lower back, which in turn pulls a lot of weight on your shoulders. I do not envy anybody who is forced to do this, like at the army and shit like that. Like when I was in the army and we were reconnaissance, so we didn't even wear fucking plate carriers. We wore chest rigs, like the TAPS shit. And if you really had to have your fucking plate carrier, you'd put it in your rucksack, which also sucks dick. Anyway, I'm gonna quit yakking. I'm gonna get this over with because I do not like rucking with a plate carrier on. But yeah, let's see how it goes. All right, so initial impressions: plate carrier and a rucksack. Like I said, I've done it before. It's suboptimal in my opinion. I'm really not a fan. You get a lot of pulling on areas that really shouldn't have a whole lot of pulling. And not to mention, you know, rucking is a cardio activity, and you happen to have something that's literally squeezing your chest and your back if your plate carrier is fitted properly, which you could already hear me. I'm like not even a quarter of the way through, and I'm already huffing and puffing like a little bitch. So yeah, especially when you're fucking breaking brush and shit, it's not, God, I picked the fucking worst place to do this. Suboptimal. Let's say that. It's fucking suboptimal. I don't like it. This thing fucking chokes you the entire time that you're fucking wearing it. Jesus. And yeah, so it's not fun wearing a plate carrier with a ruck, in my opinion, until plates get thinner and lighter. I just really don't see them being the best case scenario unless you absolutely fucking have to wear them. The tunnel of love. Fucking duck walk. Fuck. Oh God, I think I'm lost. I'm fucking lost! Alright. Fucking finally. God, that sucked. Alright, I'm taking this shit off. Hold on. Alright, well, I'm glad that's over. Now, best for last, micro rig. Fucking what a relief. Alright, so we got the micro rig on. Again, same thing. Really can't fit a whole lot in this. Not like a full IFAK, so I got the fucking IFAK fanny pack down there. But yeah. This actually fits how a rucksack is supposed to fit when you're wearing this, so it's a lot nicer. All right, but let's quit yapping. Let's get started. So, I mean, as far as comfort, I mean, obviously, this is probably the best option. I mean, you have less shit on you as compared to a plate carrier and LBE. But with obvious drawbacks, I mean, you can't have everything on you. unless you have your rucksack. So, I mean, that's a drawback on its own, but it's, I guess your mission set is going to dictate what you need to have on you or what you could sacrifice to keep in your rucksack, especially if you're just keeping your rucksack close by. I mean, obviously, the micro rig is not like the only chest rig that you can wear. I mean, they have, you know, the taps, fucking something like a split front rig, or a lot of people stand the Smersh kits and shit like that, which is kind of like a modified LBE. But either way, the chest rig is fucking sweet when you're wearing a ruck. And depending on what you need your chest rig to do, you can kind of scale it up and down. But I chose the micro rig just because I think it's like a pretty popular option for a lot of people. That, and I'm not a fan of big chest rigs because they get really front heavy. But if you're wearing a rucksack, it really ain't that bad. It kind of balances it out. But I don't wear a rucksack all the time, especially when I'm shooting and shit, so. The one thing that I like to take into consideration when building out any piece of kit, whether it's a plate carrier, chest rig, LBE, whatever, it's kind of sort of like your standard gear, if you will. So for me, I try to have 6 mags minimum, which doesn't have to be in the damn rig itself, which if you're not going to have all 6 mags on you, I mean, you kind of have to have it like somewhere. So that means putting a fucking bandolier in your rucksack just so you can have the extra ammo. I think that's a pretty good idea. Obviously an IFAK, squeeze that somewhere on there, fucking make room for it. It's kind of like a no-fail item. Like for me, what I really like is the fanny pack option. Because for one, it's not dedicated to one piece of kit. I can throw it inside of a bag, fucking around my waist. Doesn't matter what I'm wearing. I always have it on me. And I can take it off, throw it to somebody else if they need it. I think it's a good option. Plus, if you are wearing one of those, you know, front heavy chest rigs or whatever, kind of helps take some of the weight off your kit. Puts it in your on your waist or in your bag. And then water. Obviously, I don't have any fucking water on me, so that's going in the bag, or a fucking water bottle in your pocket or something. Carry a Camelback, but I'm not really a fan of Camelbacks. And then I like having an admin pouch, just so I keep, you know, fucking compass. I call it my nerd pouch because, you know, I keep like a spare set of contacts, my glasses because I'm actually blind, obviously pen and paper in case you need to write shit down, fucking glow sticks, headlamp, shit like that, you know, the nerd pouch. And then, you know, something like a multi-tool, which doesn't necessarily have to be in a rig, it could be in your pocket or on your belt, something like that. But I think I kind of use that as like a guide for like standard carrying of items, regardless of what type of kit that I'm using. And obviously the micro rig doesn't really check many of those boxes. So it trades functionality for comfort. So it's just something to consider, you know. But I think it's good for a lot of other things, which I'll talk about later in the video. Alrighty. Alright, now that we've gone over rucking, patrolling, that sort of deal, let's head down to the range and do some rifleman stuff. Alright, so we're here at the range at about the 35-yard mark. This next test is going to go over bounding, so sprinting and then bounding. The audio quality is probably going to change because I'm going to disconnect the mic because I'm probably going to fucking end up jumping in one of these puddles over here. So, yeah. So yeah, first we'll start out with the micro rig, and then we'll move on to the plate carrier and then the LBE last. So yeah, give me a sec to set up and let's run this shit. Alrighty, so what did we learn from that test? Well, we learned that even in 42-degree weather, the ground is still fucking frozen. So my fucking elbows are a little sore, but whatever. But I'll say, kind of in order of best to worst, which none of them really did poorly. I think this one was probably the worst, going prone so far, but I think that could be remedied by simply raising it up off your hips all the way. In this current configuration, it's great for rucking, but for sprinting and stuff like that, fucking, it definitely wants to twist. And you know, when you get like, you know, something like 2 fucking magazines in front of your hips, trying to go prone, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I think that could be fixed by just raising the belt rig up to the top of your hips, which this rig absolutely can do. There's plenty of adjustment. The micro rig and the plate carrier basically were about the same. Micro rig obviously a little bit better. There's just not as much material there between your chest and the ground. But yeah, that was the sprint and bound test. Now let's move on to some live fire. So you're probably gonna hear the audio quality change again. It's because I disconnected my mic. I don't know how it's gonna act when I start shooting. So instead of having like a 10-second lull where there's just no audio because it's like recalibrating or something, I'm just gonna say fuck it, say fuck the mic. So, but this next test, we're gonna be doing a shooting test. I have a simulated wall corner, if you will. So imagine this is like the corner of a building or something like that. And I'm going to be shooting down there on the left side of the berm. There is a 1/3 size IPSC silhouette. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fire 2 shots and then go into cover, reload with a mag retention, and engage again with 2 shots. So let's get started. Not too bad. So let's put on the chest rig and we'll try it again. Same deal as before, shoot from behind cover, 2 shots on steel, back in cover, reload, 2 shots again. There's definitely nothing there's no structure to this pouch, so it definitely wants to like collapse when you're trying to put a mag back in, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, next up, plate carrier. All right, now for the final test, got my plate carrier on. As far as the mag pouches go, these are my homemade Agilite AG3 mag pouches that I made, which if you want to see how I made it, you could watch this video right here or something like that. And yeah, no, I think it just makes it retaining mags a little bit easier. Yeah, same test, cover, shoot, reload, yada yada, you get it. All right, so that concludes the testing. So let's kind of talk about some of the semantics related with each piece of kit and sort of their philosophy of use. And in part, this has to do with things like carrying mission essential equipment. So if you're working in a group, whether you're, you know, military, mutual assistance group, the other M word, you know, a goon, if you will, and you're working in your goon squad, you know, you might need to sort of disseminate specific equipment to each member for them to carry. Now, primarily, you know, the bigger stuff's going to be kept inside of like a rucksack or something like that, which is fine. But having the option to keep some items on your person, whether that be, you know, like thermals, night vision, you know, smoke grenades, fucking flashbangs, you know, shit like that. Things to multiply your effectiveness in the field, you kind of want to have on your person if you can. And some of the options are better for that than others. Obviously, the fucking LBE is a great option for that because you could fucking do everything short of just parking a truck in this thing. It's obviously sustainment heavy, which is a good and a bad thing depending on what you're trying to do. So, I mean, is there really like a bad option? No. You know, if you were to ask me, which one am I going to end up using the most, or is there any that I'm just going to stick with primarily? And the answer is all of them. They each have their own uses, and they each have their pros and cons, and let's go over some of those. So the LBE is great for rucking, especially if you're doing like long distance stuff. So imagine you need to have like multiple days of supply. It's a lot nicer to be able to take some of that stuff out of your rucksack and, you know, transfer it down onto your hips and still have it not impede with your rucksack. I could carry a lot more mags than, you know, a micro rig. I could still easily carry medical stuff. I could carry observation tools, like I have my binos in here. I could carry water on my person. I don't have to have a camelback, which I fucking hate. And I can even have some field equipment, like a poncho, 550, fucking snivel gear, shit like that goes in the butt pouch. So if I drop my ruck somewhere, say I'm doing like hide site operations or, you know, recon type shit, which maybe I'll go over in the future, then it's kind of nice to have that shit on you so that you don't have to go digging around in your fucking rucksack every time you need something. So what is this bad at? Obviously, the more stuff you have on you, it's going to affect your mobility, which is not good. It's one of the cornerstones to like winning any gunfight is maintaining mobility. But I will say that the amount of stuff that you do have on you and that you do have access to, it really doesn't hinder you as much if you had the same amount of stuff on something like a plate carrier or a exclusively front heavy chest rig. Another thing that this really isn't that good for is vehicle-borne operations. So if you're working out of a fucking, in our situation, it would be like trucks and cars and shit like that. It's really not optimal. Obviously, you got a lot of fucking junk in the trunk, so you're not going to be able to sit in a car very comfortably. However, donning and fucking doffing this shit is pretty easy. It's also a piece of kit that's not very easy to hide. Maybe if you're doing stuff in an urban environment, fucking leave the LBE at home. And I'd say that it also scales really well with wearing layers and stuff like that. The belt obviously is as adjustable as you want it to be. The straps are as well. If you're wearing a big ass fucking jacket, you don't have to like try and stuff it under a jacket like you would with like a plate carrier, like you have to with a plate carrier if you want it to have the armor capabilities that it should. And the same goes for like a micro rig. You're gonna wear this big ass parka and then you're gonna have this little tiny fucking placard on you. You know, it's a lot of adjustment. This is a little bit more flexible. So for the LBE, I'll conclude before I move on to the next one. I think this is really good for being in the field for an extended period of time, like you're going to be living out of your kit specifically, obviously in a rural environment like this. And I think if you are going to be rucking and you need that extra supply, this is the setup. Honestly, this is fucking Kino. So yeah, I think that's a good philosophy of use for this one. Let's talk about the micro rig. Okay, so the micro rig. So what is it good at? What is it not good at? As far as carrying mission essential equipment for working out of a team or something like that, this is fucking not gonna cut it. As far as like other chest rigs go, you know, something like a TAPS, I'll say, which is probably one of the more common ones that people use. Obviously, you have more molly capabilities there, but it's still not as much. It's literally like damn near half what you could fit on an LBE, approximately. Obviously, there's going to be more. There's going to be fucking like flicks and whatever fucking rig. You know, Helicon Tex has a fucking pretty crazy one. You know, you need a chest rig that has more space on it, and you like the front-facing stuff. I think that would be a good option. I think it's called the Guardian. But that's a pretty sweet rig. If you're curious, this is the One Tigris rig. It's basically a Haley strategic knockoff. I've been using it for about a year now, and it's been holding up great. It's a fucking micro rig. What are you really going to do with it? You know, I don't like paying $500 for fucking cloth. But yeah, as far as carrying mission essential equipment, this really ain't it. As far as scaling pouches and stuff go, with micro rigs specifically. Now I know, you know, the molly rigs, obviously you can customize them however you want. But with micro rigs, whatever you buy, that's usually what you get. So like I can't take off any of these 3 GP pouches, admin pouch, whatever. I can't fucking, you know, the only customization kind of that you could do with this is put it on a plate carrier, because the back has Velcro and these clips kind of work as like a, it's a placard basically. But obviously with, you know, Molly chest rigs and shit like that, fucking, you can try and squeeze on there whatever you want. But I still think you're limited more so compared to something like the LBE. Where I do think that the micro rigs really shine is in vehicle operations. So obviously they have a slick back, so when you're sitting in a vehicle it's comfortable as fuck. It's up off your hips, so when you're in a seated position it's not gonna fucking dig into your hips like some plate carriers do. And what you can't fit on the chest rig you can keep in the vehicle theoretically if you're working out of a vehicle. So the micro rig is really good at vehicle operations. As far as cold weather stuff, I mean, yeah, I guess you could, you know, squeeze fucking a parka under this. Definitely want to do something like an H harness. The X harness stuff, the way that it crosses in the back, it's just so up high. Like, I mean, you're trying to squeeze a shit ton of material through it is not fun. And it's also not fun to just constantly have to adjust it so that it's not like sagging and, you know, fucking floating off your body and shit like that. So, you know, in weather where, say, it's like cold at night and you need to layer properly, having to constantly adjust your kit just to get it to fucking fit properly really sucks. So micro rigs are really good, especially, you know, like the knockoff ones like this. This was like 40, 50 bucks or something like that. And it's a really good quick deploy kit that focuses heavily on mobility and ease of use. However, you end up losing out on customization, again, with micro rigs, but sometimes that's okay, especially for like vehicle operations. All right, finally, let's talk about the plate carrier. All right, and lastly, we got the plate carrier. So just to go through the list again, carrying mission essential equipment. Obviously you have a pretty fair amount of Molly real estate front and back, and then the cummerbunds and stuff like that. So, you know, depending on what you're carrying, it's good. However, I'll say that wearing a backpack with this can be challenging. I did make a video explaining a pretty good way to mount a backpack directly to your plate carrier, although it's usually a smaller plate carrier, something like 15 liters. I don't really like wearing a fucking plate carrier and a rucksack at the same time. It sucks. It's just like, you can't fucking breathe normally. You're obviously putting on more weight because like a level 4 plate is like on average like 5 pounds each. And so when it comes to maintaining mobility and stuff like that, you kind of have to pick and choose what you're going to carry just so that you don't beat the fuck out of yourself. I mean, you could be a fucking high-speed SF hoorah fucking guy. Me personally, I just fuck that, you know what I mean? But like I said, there are some pretty cool back panels that you can get to organize mission essential shit. I just wouldn't really use it if I'm going to be out for a long time. As far as scaling pouches, obviously, like I said, there is a lot of Molly real estate, so that's pretty good. Personally, I don't like putting a shit ton of pouches on my plate carrier. That's primarily because if I'm going to wear armor, I'm going to wear the LBE if I need more pouches. Matter of fact, let me just show you what that looks like. All right, so there you go. You see, I have armor. I got 3 mags potentially up here, plus 2, 4, 6 on the belt, and then whatever else fucking sustainment-wise that I want to carry. I could throw the fucking smaller pack on top, like the assault pack that clips into my plate carrier, and I can have even more storage that way. That's if I absolutely need to wear armor. But this is one of my favorite kit orientations, honestly, because my chest is still relatively light. I don't have a whole lot of weight on my shoulders. Most of it's on my hips. Yeah, no, that's kind of why I built this LBE, honestly. All right, so continuing down the list, yeah, like I was saying about scaling pouches and stuff like that, I really don't like putting shit under my arms on the cummerbund. It's just, it gets in the way of like your sling and shit like that, and if you're wearing a backpack that isn't directly on your plate carrier, fuck that. As far as vehicles, as long as you got a slick back, it ain't the worst, but it's not ideal, especially if you do it for a long time. It kind of wears on you, especially certain plate carriers, or I guess with like smaller guys, the bottom of the plate carrier will kind of dig into their gut and shit like that. So A, don't be short, B, don't be fat. As far as wearing layers, this is kind of where things get a little complicated. In order for your plates to be effective, they have to be close to your body. If you have a shit ton of clothing underneath, they aren't effective anymore. And I'm not talking like wearing a hoodie underneath is like gonna compromise the effectiveness of your plates. But I'm saying like if you got like a fucking parka, you know, underneath, it's like, they're kind of, you're changing the fitment of, you know, the plate carrier to your body, and it's the shit's supposed to be tight, you know what I mean, or snug at least. But as far as a POU, what I think a plate carrier is great for is static security. So let's say you're doing base security operations, checkpoint stuff, basically where you're kind of out in the open a lot. You don't have a lot of concealment or cover available to you. Basically, me to you, there's a chance that I could get fucking mag dumped. I'll take the chances and wear my fucking plate carrier. You know what I mean? So, you know, you think like urban environments and shit like that. Maybe working out of vehicles too, and static security. I think the plate carrier is unmatched. Basically, if you're not going to go out and live out of your kit for an extended period of time with little supply outside of what you have on you, plate carrier is awesome. And if you're curious what this plate carrier in particular is, this is the JPC knockoff that Tacticon Armament sells, which, yeah, I know, fucking nobody likes Tacticon Armament. However, I don't give a shit. I've been using it for a year, and it's been good. I train with it, I fucking get dirty in it. It's good. It's good shit. I'm not a huge fan of their other plate carrier, the fucking K19 knockoff. It's too bulky. I'd definitely go with the JPC. Thinner fucking shoulder straps, the better, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all I got for you boys. Thanks for watching. I know I've been gone for a little while. I'll try not to do that again. Yeah, if you're interested, I got a Discord now, the fucking Goon Network. So if you want to talk with some fellow autists about gear and guns and shit like that, link will be in the description. If you have any questions, comments, or compliments, leave them in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel. We're like almost at 500 subs, which is fucking huge. And yeah, I'll see you boys in the next video. See ya.